he still has his YouTube account, and he's still able to, one of the things that we're seeing with deplatforming is it's sort of a cascading effect. So dominoes. Twitter takes you down, and then Facebook takes you down.
Who was a guy, not Limbaugh, but some other right winger that got said some shit, and they
Gavin McInnes.
Yeah, they
Proud Boys guy.
They took him off of everything.
Yeah, he's off of everything.
Yeah,
and that's that. And with him, it's even.
But he's like a hate speech guy, isn't he? He's like fucking inciting violence and whatever.
He definitely did incite violence in that he wanted these Proud Boys to fight against Antifa. And he felt like the Antifa people were thugs and that they showed up at conservative events and they threatened violence, and then he wanted the Proud Boys to fight them. I actually had him on my podcast long before any of this shit went down, when I didn't even know what the fuck the Proud Boys was, and I was asking him. I knew him as the co-founder of Vice.
Right.
And I knew him as, what I would basically say is he was essentially... He was a shit talker. He was a provocateur. He was a clever provocateur. And he was kind of a funny guy. Like the last time he came on the show, he was dressed like Michael Douglas from Falling Down. He had the fucking briefcase and everything and the crazy tie. And yeah, I mean, but he did it on purpose. He said he's dressing like Michael Douglas from Falling Down. Like he's a guy who would trick people into coming in and talking with him on his YouTube channel. And they thought that he was liberal or progressive. And then he would basically talk them into a corner. Like
some Sacha Baron Cohen Borat shit, or Ali G. In
a way, yeah. He was doing a lot of that, and some of it was very clever that he was doing on his YouTube channel. Then he got into this whole Proud Boys thing, and there's a video you can watch, the bizarre origins of the Proud Boys, from a podcast that I did with Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony.
Okay.
And he explains how the Proud Boys initially were just a joke. It was literally a joke, and they did it to make fun of a guy that was one of their interns?
I think so. That sounds
yeah. It's kind of a crazy story, man.
And then that shit took a real life of its own, and now they're fucking junior KKK kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
They all of a sudden, it got away from them, and they became an organization where you could just join. So all these people joined, and then they act as a Proud Boy, and they were beating people up and all this other crazy shit.
And he doubled down on that?
He got out. He quit. He denounced his position. He realized like his life was falling apart.
Yeah.
He was being labeled as, so they falsely claimed the FBI labeled them as a hate crime, but they didn't. But the Southern Poverty Law Center did label them as a hate crime, and several other organizations did as well. But the Southern Poverty Law Center, they've had some pretty crazy shit that they've said as well.
Okay.
They're a serious liberal, progressive organization that occasionally oversteps the boundaries of logic and reason. What he did was start an organization. And I had a joke about vegans. My joke about vegans was, the problem with vegans is the problem with any other group. If you get a group of 100 people, what are the odds that one of them is going to be a fucking idiot?
Right.
Well, that's 100%.
Right.
If we're being like really charitable, 1 out of 100 is a fucking moron. So if you get a group like vegans, where just anyone can join, and there's 300 million people in this country. That means there's 3 million fucking idiots.
That's generous.
And a lot of them are vegan. And the joke was that the problem is not the actual people with good ethics and morals that don't want animals to suffer. The problem is you let a bunch of people with no identity join your gang.
Right.
And then they become a part of this plant-based gang. This is the same thing with the Proud Boys. I think some of them probably went into it thinking it was a goof. And they were going to go there, and they thought these Antifa assholes, these 90-pound dorks swinging bike locks at people and calling everybody a Nazi and a fascist and trying to shut down every single conservative speech that was at any sort of university. These people were preposterous. They were calling Ben Shapiro a Nazi. He's a fucking Jewish man who wears a yarmulke. I mean, it's crazy to call him a Nazi. It is completely insane.
Yeah,
but he's conservative.
The alt-right and the alt-left almost, right?
Yes, exactly. And so their idea was to have something that would be there to balance out the alt-left. And it got out of control. And so he denounced it, and he stepped away from it, pulled away. But it's too late. Because he's now what you said. See, you don't know him, but you said he's the hate speech guy. You said he's that guy. He's that hate. That's how everybody's going to see him.
Right.
So like, if you found out your sister was dating him, you'd be like, what? You're dating the hate speech guy? Like, that's who he is. And you'd be like, no, he's not that. It's like, it got away from him. It became this, it wasn't him anymore. With all these people that joined that were actual racist. Too late.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Too late. There's no room for that in this world.
I'm out the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these other groups once he started getting deplatformed, these other groups got pressure to deplatform him because they said, hey, you keep the hate speech guy? You're telling me the hate speech guy's on YouTube? And they're like, fuck, okay, we got to take him off. And so that this domino effect does seem to take place. So with this Sargon of Akkad thing, though, it doesn't seem to be taking place with him because people are examining what he said. And they're saying, well, this is a sloppy use of these words. It's not wise what he did. But I do not think he's a racist.
Right.
And I don't think he was promoting racism. What he was doing was he was using words poorly.
Awfully, but yeah, I mean
that's what he's guilty of.
Yeah, but that's a good sign he's not being deplatformed. Then if people are taking a beat to realize like oh, I don't hate gays and blacks. Like that's the point that this whole thing has been a lesson in patience, and that's good to hear that like this guy is being afforded some patience about.
But in their defense, he's already been kicked off of Twitter. He had been kicked off of Twitter before. I don't know what for, though. Do you know what he got kicked off of Twitter for? He got kicked off of Twitter previously. So he already had that scarlet mark. You know, there was people were already looking at him.
You mean he's been inarticulate on Twitter before?
No way. Get on. I don't know what he had done. If they had determined that he had harassed somebody. What's that?
I guess this could be a new account. I guess I see he's on it right now.
Is it a new account?
It might be.
How many followers does he have?
13,000.
Yeah, it's probably new. He had a lot more than that. He must have. I wonder if he started a new account.
I see here, permanently banned account. Let's see.
Yeah, he's permanently banned.
This is in April of 2017.
Oh, so it's pretty old. Isn't that funny? April of 2017 is millions of years ago now. The news cycle's so fast.
It's too fast.
It's weird, right?
It's dude. I'm telling you, when I was at the show, it was like a story would be hot Monday morning, and then Tuesday morning is like, what happened? No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.